Hey everybody, it's Jason. We are going to go ahead and switch over here because our streaming software broke, and I need to make sure that we get you all back online. So give me a moment. I'm going to get everybody back in here, and then we'll go from there. So I apologize. The software that we use for streaming apparently decided to kick us off, even though we have a 1 gig up and 1 gig down connection, which is always super fun. My team is just working on getting everybody over here. So I'm just going to give you guys a few moments here while we work on this. All right. All right, folks, we're going to get going here in just a second. I'm just working on trying to get people switched over since our streaming software died on us. And hopefully this will work in the meantime. All right, folks, I am apologizing for the issue we had. Hopefully you all can see me and hear me. Our streaming software apparently decided now was a great time for them to do a software update or something on their end, and it kicked us off in the middle of our stream and won't let us back in. So we decided to switch over here to YouTube, and we're going to give everybody a couple minutes to join us back in, and then we will be able to continue with the live stream here. And we're just trying to filter everybody over because we had this streaming on YouTube and Facebook and a couple other places. So hopefully we'll be able to get those other people in here as well. And I'll be able to answer all your questions and get Jamario in here as, actually, I don't know if I'll be able to get Jamario in here because it's just going to be me since we're doing a direct stream from my webcam and he's on the other side of the country. Yep, that's not going to work, is it? Okay. Yep, okay. So let's see, I've got a couple people. I got 9 here so far. So, hey, in the meantime, say hi. Rolling with the punches. So as we were saying, we were talking about the exam itself. And as I said, the exam is $392. CompTIA does always raise their prices by 3% every year, every January 1st. So if you are planning on taking your exam November, December, January, February, I would buy your voucher now so you don't have to pay that price increase when it happens. And if you want to buy your voucher, I recommend going to diontraining.com/vouchers because that is a place that we sell the vouchers at 10% off the price. So instead of being $392, you'll pay about $350, $352, I think it works out to be, or $356, somewhere right around there. Can you guys hear me? Are you able to hear me and see me right now? I see a couple of comments in there. I see Emmanuel, I see Susan, I see Sid, I see Alex. Yes, Alex can hear me again. Perfect. Okay, so I will continue on. So unfortunately, we won't have our slides, but that's okay. We only had like one more slide anyway. The one thing we did lose, though, is any of your questions so far because they're still in the old restreaming software. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat below, and I promise I will get to every single question you have, no matter how long I have to stay here to make sure I'll get you all your questions answered. All right. So the big part that I was going to talk about was next, and that was Udemy and my Udemy students. So for a lot of you follow me on Udemy, and a lot of you get your courses on Udemy. Udemy does not support versioning. So your question is, how do you get 701? Yes. So if you already bought your 601 course on Udemy anytime in the last, actually your 501 or 601 course, basically, if you bought Security Plus from me on Udemy since 2018, your course was already automatically upgraded today. And so your course should now say 701 when you log in on Udemy. That is for the video course. That includes all the videos, all the demonstrations, and the one practice exam. So if you have Udemy and you had a 601 course and you log in right now, it should say 701. Now, if you want to access your old 601 content, what you want to do is go down in that Udemy course and click on the announcements tab. Under the announcements tab, you will see a post from our social media folks in there that included a link with a coupon in there. And if you click on that, it will enroll you for free into what is called the 601 (retired) course. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I'm talking, pull up the links for you for both of those courses. If to get into the old 601 retired course, you have to be a student of the old 601 program, and it gives you free access. So that's what I'm going to put the link in here for you for that. And I'm going to put the link for the new 701 course for anybody who is new and wants to get that as well. So let me put that in here. 1 second. We had all this preloaded in the other software, and of course it crashed, which is so much fun. All right, here we go. So the new 701 course, which is also the old 501, and it was the 501 and the 601 course. This is the link I'm putting in chat right now. To buy the 701 course, go here. Okay. If you want to access the course for the 601, which is the old content that is going to be retired, this course will never get updated and it will never have any changes, but it gives you a full version. To get the old 601 course, go here. All right, so that is where you will go. So that will get you access for free to the 601 course that we have. If you want the new 701 course, which if you already bought the 501 or 601, you automatically got upgraded for free to the 701, you'll use the first link I posted. That being said, while we try to get the rest of the folks in here, I'm going to go ahead and start answering your questions. And I'll start out with the one I see at the bottom here, which is about Station X. Station X, we do not work with Station X anymore. So they only have our old courses. They don't get any of our new courses. And the reason for this is we are on Udemy Business, and Udemy Business has an exclusivity agreement that started in 2021 or so. And it prevents us from putting our courses anywhere else except Udemy or Dion training. And that's why if you go to LinkedIn Learning, you won't find a Security Plus course from me either, because it's only on Udemy or diontraining.com. And the reason it's on both those sites is because it's actually a different course. If you're on Udemy, it's videos, it's quizzes, it's a study guide, and it's practice exam. If you go to Dion Training, you get all of that plus 40 hours of hands-on cloud-based labs and the official textbook from CompTIA and our 100% pass guarantee. So that's why there's two different products in two different places. But we are not allowed to be on Station X anymore because of the Udemy exclusivity. So Evan, no, you'll only have access to the 601 on Station X, and that's the only version they'll ever have on Station X from us. My guess is by next July, they'll just take down our course because 601 will be fully retired July 31st of 2024. So hopefully that answered your question there. So AK, if you want to get the 701 course, what I would use is that first link I posted above. It's $10.99 with that link. Normal price on Udemy is $199, $199.99, $200. It does go on sale all the time on Udemy, but right now we do have a sale on it, and I'm actually pointing, but you can't see because that's where my chat is. But that chat does have the link there, which is where I said to buy the 701 course, go here, and I put the link in. That would get it to you for $10.99. And once you buy that, you will have all future updates for Security Plus as well. So when we go to 8 and 9 and 10, we will also update it again, just like we did this time. So you'll have access forever. That's the benefit of buying it through Udemy. Udemy does give you lifetime access. Station X, they just give you access to what you have when you bought it and whatever that version of the course was. All right. The other question I saw popped in here was from Hawker Khalil. If somebody has the A Plus and Network Plus, but they've expired and they take their Security Plus, will that renew it? The answer is no. So the way it works is if your A Plus and Network Plus are active still and you're within the 3 years since you took them and you take them past Security Plus, those will get renewed. And the reason is that every certification you get comes with what's called CEUs, or continuing education units. So when you took A Plus, you have to take, I think it's either 20 or 30 hours over a 3-year cycle to renew it. If you get your Network Plus, it automatically renews your A Plus. Once you get Network Plus, I think you need 40 hours. Once you get your Security Plus, you need 50 hours. But whatever with CompTIA, whatever your highest level cert is, as long as you meet the CEUs for that, it renews everything below it. But anytime if you let those expire, you basically have to start over again because you've now gone outside of that 3-year window. So that's why one of the reasons I recommend to people, if you have an A+, within 3 years, get your Net Plus. If you have Net Plus, within 3 years, get your Security Plus. If you have Security Plus, within 3 years, get CISA or Pen Test. If you have 3 years later, get one of the other two of those. And each of those renews everything below it each time. So essentially, if you start with A+, and next year you get Network Plus, next year you get Security Plus, next year you get CISA Plus, the next year you get Pen Test Plus, over those 5 years, you've now gotten 5 certifications, and they're all up to date, and they're good for another 3 years from the last date you took the thing. So that's the way I would do that. Let's see. How do you access the practice exam test in Udemy? Yes. So there was a glitch with the update. With the update, it was only supposed to update the video course to 701. The 601 practice exams should have stayed the same. There was an error, and those got overwritten with 701 exams. My team is working on that overnight tonight. And so within the next 24 hours, if you were in the 601 practice exam course, within the next 24 hours, you will see 601 practice exams back there again. If you want the 701 practice exams, one of the things we did this time was we actually created 2 full sets of practice exams. Normally when I make a course, I make a video course that has 20 to 40 hours of video content with the quizzes, and then 1 full-length practice exam, because that's all Udemy lets us do in a video course. And then we create a separate practice exam course that includes 6 full-length practice exams. Well, one of the things we've had a lot of students ask for is, I want more practice exams, Jason. And so what we did was we actually spent the time to write over 1,200, 1,300 questions this time. And so we actually have 13 different full-length practice exams. 1 of them is in the video course. 6 of them are in the first practice exam set of courses, which the team is doing the final quality checks on this week. So it should be out later this week or early next week. And then we have a second set of 6 more practice exams for those who want more practice. Most students are only going to need the video course and 1 set of practice exams, but about half our students say, I'd like more practice exams because that's where I'm learning the best to practice and feel comfortable before I take a $400 exam. And that's why I put out a second full set of practice exams as well. So the answer to your 601 question is, give us 24 hours, your 601 course will be restored. You'll have access to it. If you're waiting for 701 practice exams, give us another 2, 3, 4 days. The team's working as quickly as they can to make sure the quality is where it needs to be so we can release that to you. And we do have about, like I said, about 1,200 questions. This is the other difference between buying on Udemy and buying on our site at Dion Training. When you buy it on our site, everything is included. So when you buy the Security Plus on our site, you'll actually have access to about 1,300 practice exam questions, which is all the practice exams from all 3 Udemy courses rolled into one, in addition to all the other stuff, the labs and the guarantee and all of that. So yes, I know we had a big issue this week with the upgrade. It's always a painful process. This year was much more painful than normal. We've learned a lot of mistakes, and we're going to make sure we don't fall into these traps again. So yes, you got disconnected earlier. Is there a 701 course on Udemy for Jason? Yes. If you go to Udemy right now and you want to get the 701 course, this is the link for the 701 video course. If I'm typing it here, course, and 1 practice exam, and it's right there. It's in the chat, so you should be able to see that now. And if you just go to diontrain.com/Udemy, you'll see all of our Udemy courses, and you can always get the lowest price on our Udemy courses by going here. And it will always have the lowest price for you. All right. Is 601 and 701 fairly similar? So if you're subscribed to Test Out for 601, I would take the 601 version if you're already into that and been working through it. There's enough difference between the two. There's about 20 to 30% difference between the 2 exams. I would never recommend for any certification you're taking using an old textbook for a new exam. The objectives change, the level of depth changes, and sometimes even the terminology changes. For example, from the 501 version to the 601 version, there was a lot of name changes. For example, if you're used to using a network segmentation technique where we create a demilitarized zone, or DMZ, that is no longer talked about on the Security Plus exam. They now call it a screened subnet. We also don't talk about blacklist or whitelist. We talk about block list and allow list. And so a lot of these terminology changes were changed. And so that's an important thing to note. The other thing is that a lot of new stuff was added. For example, the 601 did not go into depth on cloud, virtualization, Internet of Things devices and things like that. And that's all being brought very heavily into 701 because honestly, our enterprise environments look more cloud these days than they did 3 years ago. And so you always want to make sure you're doing that using the latest version. I'll give you a great example of this. I recently took a project management certification called the Prince 2 Practitioner. I am already certified and I have been certified for years. I teach this on a daily basis. And I decided I'm not going to study for this. I'm just going to go take the exam because basically I had to get certified like this week and I didn't have time to read the book and the book wasn't out yet. So I used my version 6 book for it and I passed the exam, but I passed with like a 72 or something like that. And normally I can get a 90 to 100 on that exam, right? But they changed enough that like, I'm like, what are they asking me? Because they added a new domain on people that didn't exist in version 6, but it existed in version 7. So for that reason, I always like to have, if you're going to spend $400 on a voucher, you're better off spending 10, 20 bucks on a course or at least some practice exams made for version 7 to ensure you're getting the right concepts and terminology to make sure you're not going down the wrong path. So that'd be my recommendation to you. OOF, I think it says OOF/OOF. So yeah, that's my answer for that. And yes, SROM, in 2020, there was a big change in a lot of the terminology that came out of what they call inclusive language. And so things like native resolution is now called default resolution because we don't want to be offensive to folks who are natives of a country or Native Americans or something like that. And so there's a lot of those type of terminologies that were changed. And like I said, it's a minor thing, but it can throw you off on exam day and you're paying $300, $400 for an exam voucher. You don't want to get messed up because you didn't know the terminology. I think one of the biggest ones was DMZ and Scream Subnet. There's a couple others like that where it's far enough away that if you don't know what they're talking about, you didn't know the difference, you would miss the question because you didn't know a Screen Subnet meant DMZ, which is what people still call it in a lot of the world. So yes, so our site is diontraining.com/Udemy is for the Udemy ones. For the vouchers, it's diontraining.com/vouchers. And if you want our courses, it's diontraining.com/courses, or just go to diontraining.com. The menu bar is at the top. Can you have access to the 601 content? Yes, you totally can. And Mel, what you need to do to access that is to go to this link. And let me grab it for you. And copy link. So Mel, use this link. That did not do it right. Sorry. Hold on. I'm working on it. Normally, I have assistants to help with all this while I'm talking. Unfortunately, we can't do that because we got kicked off our other thing. Where did it go? Do I have it?
You copied the link address instead of just copy.
Did I? I screwed up. Okay, copy. There we go. Got it. Thank you. And this is why Christina's here to help me. Awesome. So yeah, so if you click on that, that already has the embedded coupon code. That's good until Thursday or Friday. So if you're on this call and you want that old 601, thanks for sticking with me. The free link's there, grab it. And you'll have lifetime access to the 601 content that way for the video course on Udemy. If you want the 701, that one does cost, right now it's on sale because we just launched it. It's on sale for $10.99 or whatever. The link doesn't work. No. Let me try. Hold on a second. Oh, it's missing part of it. You are right. Give me 1 second. Let me reprint it. Yes. Well, the coupon code's embedded into the link, okay, so they shouldn't need that as well. But let me just verify that I give you the right link and that it goes through properly on YouTube. I think YouTube may be cutting our link or something there. All right. Yes, that worked for me. So it should work for you. And let's see if this posts through. All right. Yeah. There you go. That came through that time. Now it's truncated, but let's see. Did it still work? Yes, it did. Okay. Yes. Try that link. That one should work for you. Should you stick with the 601? This depends on you and how far you are in the course. I'll tell you my personal guidelines is if I was less than 25% done, which would basically be if you were before, say, section 7 or section 8 of the old 601 course, I would probably start over with the 701. And the reason is the 701 is a newer exam. And this is just one of those things that I've noticed with CompTIA. Anytime there's a new exam, the first 18 months of the cycle seem to be easier. The last 6 months of the cycle, once the retirement is announced, gets to be really, really hard. And the reason for this is when they sit down to write all the questions, they write like 2,000 questions for the exam, but they don't release them all on day one. Instead, they release like 500 questions. And for the first 3 to 6 months, they're using those 500 questions. And eventually they get leaked out and we all find them on the internet and all those places, but we all know where you can find them, right? And so what they do is they go, oh, too many people are getting these questions right. So they start taking them out and putting in other questions. And so once people are getting wrong too many times, they'll take those out too, because they'll say maybe they were badly worded questions. But then you get to the end of the cycle and they're like, crap, we're out of questions. We still have 6 more months of this exam. So they take those bad questions and the ones everybody got right before, and they put them back in the bank. And so what I find is the last 6 months, the questions are more difficult, they're poorly worded, and more people fail. So I tend to like, once the new exam comes out, to move into the new exam and not to stick around with 601. Now, if you're already studying and you've been studying for a month at this point and you're like halfway through the course, I'd probably stick with 601 because you're almost done anyway, and finish it out. And that way you can take care of it that way. It really is just a risk decision. But me personally, I've always found that the last 6 months, once the new exam is out and the old exam is getting ready to retire, that old exam tends to be harder. And so I don't like it for that reason. Now, a lot of people will stick with the old exam because there's not a lot of content out for the new exam when it first releases, generally. I will tell you with the 701, that is not the case. I looked on Udemy today. In addition to our course, there's 3 or 4 other courses from well-known providers like Mike Myers and Total Seminars as well. And so normally Mike at Total Seminars, they've always waited till the end of the retirement and then they would launch 701 in like next July. This time they did it when it came out, just like we normally do. And so this time it seems like there is more content out there. There's more textbooks, there's more practice exams, there's more video content. So I think it's okay to go to 701 at this point. But it really is a decision for you. For me, I generally would say go to 701. And I'm not saying this just because I want another $11 out of you to buy a new course. But if you already bought the old Udemy course, you have the new 701 as well for free too. So, but it really is a decision for you. And the other part of that is I just think I did a better job on the 701 course. Every time I teach, I get better. And the 701 course, it's a little longer. It's a little more in depth. It's about 30 hours instead of 21 hours. I went into depth in more areas that students struggle with in 601, and I removed things that were no longer needed in 701 from 601. So it's a more direct course, even though it's longer, and we cover a lot more details, and it'll make you a better analyst and a better security professional. So that's why I like the 701 course better, just because I think we did a much better job on the course itself. Yes, exam practice test is 701. Yes, that is going to be fixed in the next 24 hours. If you had the old 601 practice exams, those are coming back on Udemy. It was not supposed to be upgraded automatically to 701 for the exams. It was only supposed to be the videos. They made a mistake. We're fixing that right now over the next 24 hours. For 701, there's 2 practice exam courses that are available on Udemy, or will be in the next week. Our team is doing the final quality checks right now, and that gives you 6 exams and another full 6 exams, completely different exam questions on both of them. So you'll have 12 exams if you want them to practice with, because I know a lot of students practice is what they do to get comfortable taking the real exam. So, all right. So that was 601. We talked about that. That could work good. Yes. Dave G, the course should be there. If you had the old 601 course, you'll now see it called 701 in your panel. But if you want the old 601 course as well, I did put the link there. You can grab that for free using that link above. So about 3 above your comment, you'll see that link. And yes, so Dave G, the vouchers, when you buy a voucher from Dion Training, our Security Plus vouchers are good for either 601 or 701 in any language you want to take it in that's offered. So if you buy your voucher, or if you already have a voucher for 601, it's the same voucher for 701. When you go to Pearson VUE to sign up, it'll ask you, do you want to take version 6 or version 7? You pick that, and then you schedule your time. So don't worry about different vouchers. It's the same voucher. Link is now pinned. Awesome. The link is pinned to the top of the chat, and that is the link for the free one, right? For the 601 retired course, if you want that old content. All right. Let's see. So that's the practice exams for Armando. Sorry. Jake, I joined a bit late. Will the Dion Training 601 be re-uploaded to Udemy? Yes. So for the practice exam course, yes. For the video course, if you want the video 601, go to the pinned link above, click on that, and enroll. You'll have full access to the 601 course again. No problem there. Yep, and everybody already told them that, so I just said that for no reason. That's okay. Yes, so Armando, the 601 practice exam you had will revert back to 601 within the next 24 hours on Udemy. It should not have gone to the 701 because it's different questions and different objectives, and that's not what you wanted, right? So we have new practice exam courses coming out later this week or early next week with 701. The one you have should not have been there. So that's coming off, and the old 601 is going back. So if you do nothing, your 601 your 601 exams will be back within the next 24 hours. So yes. Let's see. I think we had a couple more questions. Did you have some more over there, Christina? All right. Yes. Okay. So Dioxin had asked in the previous live stream that we got kicked off of, said the course about 2 to 3 weeks ago, they had purchased the Security Plus course 601. They're now seeing it as 701. How do they get the 601? Use the link above that I gave you. That link is only good for 3 days. Udemy only lets us use a time-limited link when we do a free coupon like that. So what we're doing is they let us do 3 coupons per month. We did 1 last Monday. We did 1 this Monday. And we will do 1 next Monday as well. So if you don't get to use that coupon before it expires on Thursday or Friday, Monday we will post again the new coupon link in your existing 701 video course on Udemy. Go to the announcements tab. You'll get that coupon code. Click on that, and you'll be able to enroll yourself in the retired 601 course. But honestly, if you're listening to me talk right now, just click on it, enroll right now. It takes about 30 seconds, and you don't have to worry about that. But I'm saying that for people who are going to watch this video after Thursday. So if you're watching this after the 17th of November, you'll have to wait till the following Monday to get the next coupon. And then we can't put another coupon out until after December 1st. So you'll have to wait till after Thanksgiving if you miss this week or next week. So just want to make sure I point that out for everybody. All right. Same time, same day. Demish, I'm not sure what your question is. You said 601 and 701 do require it same time, same day. I think what you're thinking is that you have to take 2 exams. You don't. You can take 601 or 701 right now from now until July. I personally recommend that you study for and take the 701. It's newer. It has better content. Our course is better. And I think you'll have a better chance of passing than the older 601 because the end of the cycle on exams tends to get harder and people fail at a higher rate. So that's why I recommend going to 701 at this point. Unless you're like, hey, I'm a week or 2 away from taking it, that's fine. But if you're thinking I'm going to take Security Plus 601 in January, February, March, I recommend you switch over to 701. If you're not, basically my guideline is if you can't finish it before the end of 2023, switch to 701. That'd be my guidance to you. All right. Also, any questions you have outside of Security Plus, I'm happy to answer those as well. This live stream we usually do is a training at the beginning. In this case, we were talking about 601 and 701, and then we open up the floor to any other questions you have. So feel free to post them in there, and I will get to them as I go. All right. Glad to hear that you got your A+, Network Plus, and Cloud Essentials thanks to our videos. In Cloud Essentials, you had me and Jamario teaching together. In the new 701 course, you'll see there are 3 instructors. I do the bulk of the teaching. You'll see about 50 to 60% of the course is me. About 20% is Jamario, who helped me with Cloud Essentials as well. He's also our Linux guy, and he's also one of our guys who does a lot of the senior courses as we go into CISA Plus, Security X, which is the new CAS Plus, and the Pentest Plus. He's the guy for that. And then the other person you'll see in there is, if you've taken my IT Fundamentals Plus course, I did that one with Jamario and Mazen. And Mazen is in the Security Plus course as well for about 20% of it. So I think you'll enjoy both of those instructors as well as myself. And all 3 of us came together to build this course, and it's a really good course. So I think you'll like it. Let's see. Fly and Fit says, this is a bit off topic, but do you happen to have a course or practice exams for the CISA version 3? Of course I do. I have courses and exams for all of the CompTIA stuff except for Cloud Plus and Server Plus and DataSys Plus. Those are the 3 that we're missing right now. And Cloud Plus is coming in 2024 for those of you who want it. So yeah, you'll see Jamario and me in that course. So yes, if you want to get the CISA version 3 course on Udemy, you can do that by going to diontraining.com/Udemy, UDEMY, and you'll be able to click on the course there. There's a video course and a practice exam course. The video course is about 40 hours and it has 1 practice exam. The practice exam course has 6 practice exams. And I do recommend you get both of those, not because I'm trying to sell you more stuff, but because practice exams are the best way to prepare you for the real exam. So my recommendation is if you're going to do it that way, I would, when I first start the course, I would go right down to the practice exam in the videos at the end of the course, take that practice exam, see how you score. You might find that you already scored 50, 60, 70%. And it's going to help you understand how the questions are written and how you can study as you're going through the course. Then go through the whole course and then go to your practice exam course that is the 6 exams and take those. If you do that, you're going to be set up really well for success. If you want to take the entire course together with the hands-on labs, we have that at Dion Training. And if you go to diontraining.com, you'll see that if you click on the courses tab. There's a big price difference between Udemy and Dion Training. I will tell you, it's about 10 times more expensive on Dion Training. The reason is you're getting hands-on labs, you're getting the textbook, and you're getting a pass guarantee. So if you fail the exam, we buy you a new voucher for $392. And I'll tell you, the course doesn't cost $392. So if you're afraid you're going to fail, I recommend the Dion Training version because it comes with a pass guarantee. And our students on Dion Training who go through those labs and the whole video course do tend to pass at a very, very high rate, 95+% pass the first time. Udemy, there's a little bit lower pass rate because you are more self-guided. You're doing the videos on your own. You're doing the quizzes on your own. It's still a great course. In fact, the videos are exactly the same on both courses. The big difference is you don't have the textbook and you don't have the hands-on labs and you don't get the pass guarantee on Udemy. But otherwise, it's fairly equivalent. All right. The link doesn't work in Udemy Business. Oh, thank you, Mel. That's a good point. I did not know that. So yeah, if you're a Udemy Business customer, you can't buy courses on Udemy Business. You can only subscribe to them. That being said, that link will work if you sign up with a personal account. So you can just create yourself an account on your Gmail or whatever, use that link I gave you, and you'll get the free course that way. Question. If you bought the 601 exams, will you be upgraded to 701? So if you're talking about the Udemy course, the practice exams don't get updated automatically. Those become new courses. The big problem here is that Udemy doesn't support versioning yet. So when you buy a course, technically you're only supposed to get the version you bought, like 601, you would keep 601 the whole time. But we've had this issue in the past where students are like, hey, new exams out, I want the new content. So we gave everybody a free upgrade. And that's why we created that legacy course for the video course for you to access. For the practice exams, we didn't do that. We just created new courses. So we give you the free videos, but if you want the practice exams for 701, you'd have to buy those. So that's the way that works. Let's see. Next question is Alex. We have to study extra hard for the 601. Yes. I always find that the last 6 months gets really tough, especially the last 3 months. So if you start getting into February, March, April, May, I really would not take 601 at that point. That's my personal recommendation. Okay. Do you have to memorize all 35 ports for the exam? Great question. So I actually covered this a little bit better in the 701 course than I did in the 601 course. So in the 601 course, there was actually an objective that said, you must understand these ports and protocols, and it listed out all of them specifically. In 701, they took that objective away. Now, do you still need to know the ports? Yes. Do you have to memorize them as well as you did in 601? No. But the reason you still need to know the ports is because they're going to be asked in other questions. And if you don't know what the port is, you're going to miss the question. For example, if I said, I'm trying to connect to a remote server over port 23, what service am I using? You need to know that that's Telnet, right? Or if I'm looking through a firewall log and I see somebody is trying to connect over port 23, but I know that I have Telnet closed on my system, then I'm not worried about that as a vulnerability. But again, they're going to only tell you one piece of it. They'll either say Telnet and you need to fill in 23, or they'll tell you 23 and you need to know that it's Telnet. So that's why you need to know these ports. A lot of them are going to be pretty common and easy to remember, like port 80 and port 443, HTTP and HTTPS. Some of them are more complicated, like radius and tachus. I don't have those memorized off the top of my head usually. I know it's 1800 and something for radius, and I'm trying to remember, I think it's 1812, 1813, or 1815, 1816. Again, I'm pretty close, but I'm not exact. But knowing that it's 1800 something will get me the right answer on the exam because it's an ABCD question, right? And so that's kind of the level of depth you need to know for the exam. And generally, before I take the exam, I'll look over my ports one more time, just so they're fresh in my head, and then I'll be able to go. Because some of them I just don't use on a daily basis anymore, like radius and tachus and NTP, which I think is 117, 113. Again, I'm a little rusty on my ports because it's been a while. So, all right. Yeah, and so that'd be my tip to you there, Armando. Let's see. Thank you, Nelson, for the kind words. I appreciate it. Alex, definitely need to know all the ports. Daniel, going through the 601 course. All right. Take Two deal you took the edge off. Yeah. So the Take Two. So some people know what that is, some people don't. So I'm going to cover that real quick. Thank you for bringing it up. The Take Two, what that is when you buy your voucher from us at Dion Training, we give you 10% off the retail price. So instead of paying $392 from CompTIA, you're going to get 10% off, which is $39.20 off, which works out to like $350, $355 for your Security Plus voucher. But if you fail it, you have to buy a new voucher, which is, again, $352.90 or whatever it is, right? I think it's $352.80 or something like that. If you buy the Take Two, when you go to buy your course, your exam voucher, you have the option of checking a button and buying what we call the Take Two. And our Take Two program means if you take your exam and you fail it for any reason, you send us your score report, we send you a brand new voucher that's worth $392 without you paying for it again. Now, the Take Two does cost some money. And so it's really a risk-reward decision. We talk about risk management in Security Plus. Take Two is a risk management decision. For me, I would not buy it. I'll just be honest, because I know in my past, I've taken all my exams, and I think I've failed 2 exams at this point, and I've taken over 200 exams. But I'm really good at taking certification exams, so I'm not worried about it, right? If it's your first exam, it's a really good idea to have, because as Oof said, having that and knowing that if I fail, I don't have to pay another $400 is really comforting. For Security Plus, I don't remember our Take Two pricing right now, but usually it's around 25 to 33% of the cost of the voucher. So instead of paying $350 for your voucher, you might be paying like $450 for your voucher. But if you fail, we replace the voucher for free. And so if you failed, it was a great purchase. If you passed, you spend an extra $99 or so, and you really didn't get any benefit except the peace of mind knowing that if you did fail, you'd be passed. I think about it like car insurance, right? It's the only product we buy and hope we never have to use. It's the same thing with the Take Two. You're buying it, hoping you're going to pass anyway, but if you don't, you're glad you have it. And it's the same thing with my car insurance. I pay $5,000 a year for my car insurance, and if I get in an accident, I'm really happy I paid for that car insurance, because cars are expensive to repair here in Florida, and liability is really expensive as well. So keep that in mind. And again, it's an optional thing. You don't have to buy it, but you do have to buy it at the time of purchase. It cannot be added on after, and it can't be added on once you fail. Just like car insurance, you can't call up State Farm and go, hey, I crashed my car. Will you insure me now? No, you already crashed your car. I'm not going to pay for your damage, right? You have to pay for it up front. So that's the idea of the Take Two. Last week, there was an Accolade CCRF conference call. You were unable to attend. Was it recorded? Yes, it was. If you want to get access to that, Milo, just shoot me an email at support@accolade.com. It's spelled AKYLADE, just like in your comments there. And if you do that, my team over there at Accolade, which is not Dion Training, it's my other business that I work with, they can send you the link to that. And we went through the CCRF on that call, and we did the launch for it, the official launch. It's a new, I guess I should probably mention what it is now that you brought up. Thank you, Milo. CCRF is the Certified Cyber Resilience Fundamentals. It's the first of a 2-exam series. The first one is CCRF, which is the fundamentals. The second one is what's called the practitioner, the Certified Cyber Resilience Practitioner. Both of these are industry certifications that are coming out from this new company called Accolade. And I'll be honest, I am a co-founder of that company. So, that's one of the reasons why you'll hear me talk about Accolade a lot, because I am a co-founder of it. And what we are doing at Accolade is we are trying to solve the problem that we hear from the HR managers, who are the people who make the hiring decisions of who's going to get a job in cybersecurity, and the candidates. A lot of candidates I've heard, hey, certifications are just a money grab. People are just charging me $300, $400, $500, $1,000 to get a piece of paper so that I can possibly get a job. And you're right. That is the certification industry. And it's big, right? What we are doing at Accolade is a little bit different. One is we are a very low-cost certification program. So we are not a money grab. Our goal is to help you get jobs. And the other piece that our big mandate is helping the hiring managers be able to find good candidates so we can break down this barrier to entry that's been happening. And what's been happening is a lot of people say, I got my Security Plus, nobody will hire me, right? Because they have no experience, they have no background or anything else, right? With Accolade, we're trying to solve that by creating a knowledge-based certification, the fundamentals, and then a practitioner level certification that if you pass that, you really know what you're doing. And a hiring manager knows you can do cybersecurity work under this methodology. And what the CCRF is focused on is the NIST cybersecurity framework, which is an open source framework created by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And it's all about how you do IT assessments, IT audits, penetration testing, and risk assessment in this world at a consultant level. When we built the certification, we brought in 50 to 100 different people, both hiring managers and people who do this work professionally with large insurance companies and banks and the military and sports teams. And they helped write these certifications so that when you get this, they know it's a valuable certification. And that's what we're doing. It is not the equivalent of a Security Plus. It is a completely different thing. And if you get your Security Plus, it's a great thing to look at as your next step, because it really focuses on how you can become a cybersecurity consultant and do it as a foundational level. The fundamentals is how you be a part of a team. The practitioner level is how do you lead that team and be that person. For example, if you want to start your own cybersecurity consulting business, having that CCRP will tell you how to do that in a very effective, repeatable process, so you can do these assessments and help your corporate clients do what they need to do. So that's what CCRF and CCRP is. CCRF is out now. CCRP is going to be going into beta in the next 2 months. And if you want to be a part of that, keep an eye at accolade.com, and we'll have information there on when that beta is available. And you can take that beta at a reduced price and be a part of that as well. But yeah, you can, if you want more information on that, just check out accolade.com. Or if you want access to that webinar, go to support@accolade.com and just shoot us an email there. All right. Oomph. Hey, I got it right. 1812 and 1813 for radius. Thank you. I was going by memory. I'm like, it's either 1812, 1813 or 1815, 1816. So much crap going on in my head. It's hard to keep it straight. So Sid, you were accidentally upgraded to 701. That was a mistake. They're reverting that over the next 24 hours to put the 601 content back, because the exams should have stayed 601. The 701 content isn't ready yet. It's still in the quality checking phase. That'll be coming out later this week for the practice exams. The video course is done and quality checked and ready to go, but the practice exams aren't, so you'll see those coming out next week. Alex, thanks. I'm smart and handsome. I appreciate that. Make me feel good tonight. And 49 for Takis, I think. Awesome. All right. Michael took away his comment. My little support. Okay. Mr. Dion, are the Udemy certificates for your course considered continuing education credits? Yes. So we were talking earlier about continuing education credits. For all of our courses on Udemy, whatever the hours is for that course, that's how many CEUs you can claim. So in the old Security Plus course, it was a 21-hour course. So you got 21 hours of continuing education when you printed off that certificate and uploaded it to the CompTIA website. And that would apply to either your A+, your IT Fundamentals, A+, Cloud Essentials Plus, or Security Plus recertification. It was 21 of the 50 hours you needed. If you take the 701 exam and you pass it, though, all those certifications get automatically renewed anyway, and you don't need the CEUs. So that's another way to renew yourself. But if you're like, hey, my Security Plus is expiring at the end of this month, you can jump into a couple of our Udemy courses like A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, CISA Plus. Take some of those. Like CISA Plus is 38 hours. And that would, if you get the certificate, you can upload that, and that counts as 38 of your 50 hours in that 3-year cycle that you need. And yes, Sasha is correct. Dion Training will be making CCRF and CCRP courses. I will tell you the CCRF course, I am helping write the course, but it will not be me on screen. It'll be Reed Biggood, which is one of our other instructors at Dion Training. And I'm helping him write that course to make sure it is good, high quality, ready to make sure it meets all the things. But because I'm a co-founder at Accolade, it'd be really weird for me to be the trainer as well. And so in that, I'm trying to keep my training away from Accolade. And we have what's called ATPs, our authorized training partners. Dion Training is our largest training partner, obviously, because I'm Dion and I'm with them. But we do have other training partners as well. Dion does asynchronous training only, video-based. It'll be on Udemy. It'll be on Dion Training. Accolade does have some partners around the world. For instance, we have one partner in Malaysia, and they do in-person training for those courses. And generally, the CCRF course, it's about 5 to 10 hours of video content. It's about a 1-day to 2-day course in person. And CCRP is a 2 to 3-day course in person. And maybe about 10 to 15 hours of video. That one will be out probably in March to June. CCRF will be sometime in the first quarter, so January to March, depending on how fast we get it written and filmed. So yes, thank you, Sasha, for bringing that up. And yeah, as I said, Dion Training is our number one partner for that product right now. They're our largest because they are a global partner with millions of students like you all. Let's see. Demis says Security Plus, and he has a boot camp certificate, be enough for him to get an entry-level job. It can be. So Demis, can you tell me where you're located in the world in chat? And I'll come back to your question in a second. Because if you tell me a little bit about your, do you have experience in IT already? Have you worked in the help desk or as a network engineer or anything else? Or are you brand new and you just have a Security Plus and a boot camp cert? And, how long was that boot camp? Was it because boot camps are 5 days to 5 years, depending on where you're taking it. The real cybersecurity boot camps tend to be more like 3 months. If you did like one of the 5 days, like you went through a week-long class to get your Security Plus, it's less good than a 3-month one, for instance, right? So if you pop that in there, I'll come back and answer that for you. And where you are in the world, because depending on where you are, the cybersecurity market is different and they ask for different things. And based on your name, I'm not sure where in the world you live, because your name, I can think of 5 or 6 different countries right off the bat that your name would go in, just based on the spelling. Let's see, L Style, will you be producing a video series on the updated Cyber First Responder certification? No plans at this time. When the first CFR came out, I did take that exam, and I felt like it was basically a direct copy of CYSA Plus. When I took version 1, and at the same time, version 1 of CISA came out. And because CompTIA was a better, well-known company, and we already had CompTIA courses, we chose to go with CYSA Plus. I haven't seen a huge demand for CFR yet, the way I have for CYSA, and that's why we stuck with CYSA Plus. That being said, if you take our CYSA Plus course, it probably covers 80% of the CFR, but I'm not making a dedicated CFR course because I haven't seen the demand in the marketplace yet. In fact, you're the first person in the last 4 years that I've heard even mention CFR to me. I haven't heard anybody mention that since about 2018 when I took the certification. It was 2017 or 2018 when I took the certification, and I haven't heard about it since. So I didn't even know there was a new version coming out because I didn't realize it was still in existence. So yeah, and I'll give this general guidance as well for certifications. When you're thinking about what certification you should be taking, the first thing I always recommend you do is go onto Monster or Dice or LinkedIn and look in your area at the jobs you'd potentially want to apply for. Look at the requirements. What are they asking for? Are they asking for CCRF? Are they asking for CFR? Are they asking for Security Plus or Pentest Plus or CEH? And whatever you see coming up over and over again, that's what you want to get. Remember, certifications are there for a purpose. What is the purpose of a certification? There's really 2 purposes in my mind for a certification, right? One is, as a hiring manager, I know that people who get a certification have at least a minimum level of knowledge at this level of the certification, right? So if you pass Security Plus, I should be able to ask you about PKI and you can tell me about it. I can ask you about hashing and you could tell me about it. I could say, how do you create availability in your network? And you'd say redundancy, business continuity, redundant connections and redundant power supplies and all that stuff, right? Because you have that foundational level of knowledge. That's the first reason for getting a certification. The second reason is to get hired, right? And all of our stuff these days is done by AI and machine learning. So when you put in your application, even at Dion Training, we're a fairly small company. We've got about 25 to 30 employees right now. And when we hire, and we just did hire one of our students actually applied for the job and got it. We had about 100 people apply for a practice exam test writer position. And we don't have time to go through hundreds of resumes, right? So we use an AI-based system that does the scanning for us and says, hey, out of these 100, 200, 300 people who applied, we think these are the 20 you should really look at. Then our hiring manager, Susan, went through and looked at those 20. She went through and picked out 5 she liked the best. She interviewed those 5. And the ones that she liked the best of those 5 was 3. And those 3 got interviewed by me and my team lead in the instructor pool, Mary, who's our learning design person. And she and I interviewed, and we chose out of those 3, we ranked them 1, 2, and 3, and then we made a hiring decision based on that. So that being said, what is the purpose of a certification? Well, one of the things we said in our job post was, must have A+, Net Plus, Security Plus. Recommended that they have CISA Plus and Pentest Plus because then they can write questions for all of our courses and not just our lower level courses. And so as it went through, it started ranking and stacking people. And I will tell you, the number 2 person actually had more certifications than the number 1 person. But ultimately, when it came to the interviews, that's how they ended up racking out was 1 and 2. And we chose the number 1 person. And, we've talked to the number 2 person, said, the next time we have another position, we're going right back to you because we really liked you, but we only had enough time and resources to hire 1 at this point. So that's the way I look at certifications is, if employers are asking for them, that's what you want to get. Don't get certifications just because you're like, hey, I want another thing to put on my wall, right? That's fine if you want to do it, but they're really expensive to create that one thing on your wall, right? So we want to make sure we're getting the things that are valuable. If you look at my resume, I've got 30, 40 certifications. You should not have 30 or 40 certifications. I'll tell you that right now. The reason I do is because I have to be certified in everything I teach. But I will tell you, in general, 5 certifications is about right for most people who have 0 to 5 years of experience. By the time you get to 10 years, maybe 6 or 7 certifications total. By the time you get past that, that should be pretty much it. Unless you're an instructor and you need those for a job, or somebody specifically says, you must have this certification or we're not going to hire you, then go off and get that certification. but you don't need to collect all of them, and you don't need to keep them updated either, all of them, right? So for instance, somebody said earlier they have Cloud Essentials Plus. Well, if they go and get Cloud Plus, they can never worry about doing Cloud Essentials Plus again because Cloud Plus is higher. Same thing if you have A Plus, Net Plus, and Security Plus, and you get CISA Plus. Well, you should never take A Plus, Net Plus, and Security Plus again because CISA Plus replaces all of those. Now, it doesn't replace them, but it does renew them for you. I shouldn't say replaces because they're covering different content. But as you move up in your career, you're no longer in the help desk and you don't need your A Plus anymore. I personally don't use my A Plus on a daily basis except to teach you how to pass the A Plus exam, for example. But when I was working in cybersecurity for the last 20 years, I hadn't touched A Plus stuff in 10 years because I was out of that level already. I'd moved ahead of that. So keep that in mind as well. Sid, I'm going to put this in chat for you. It is accolade.com is the one for CCRF. All right. The new 601 videos, the subtitle is not working. That's a first turn for me. We will get that fixed. Susan, I believe you're still on the call, so we'll make sure she gets that and she'll get that taken care of. Oh, Eduardo's already got it. Never mind. Good job, Eduardo. Let's see. Where did I go? Okay, just make sure I got there. That sounds pretty awesome. Yes. So Luigi, as far as 701, I personally think 701 is easier than 601 because of how they've rescoped it. Some areas are harder and more in depth, but the majority overall is easier, and they've took away excess stuff that was confusing to students and didn't need to be there, like IT project management and software development. So yeah, I personally like doing 701, and since you just did A+, I would finish Network Plus and then go into 701 next. I would not skip Network Plus, and the reason is, now you can decide whether to take the Network Plus certification exam, but I would still go through the course because understanding networking and routing is so critical to what you're going to do in security and later on in pen testing and cybersecurity analyst stuff. And if you don't have that foundation of subnetting and networking, you're going to be struggling when you get into those higher level courses. So definitely at least go through the Network Plus course before you go into Security Plus. It'll pay off for you. Kay, you do not have to start all over with 701. You do have until July of next year to finish 601. I would recommend try to finish 601 by the end of 2023, because after 2023, it's going to get significantly harder, not because the content is changing, but because the questions in their database are the weaker, poorly worded questions, at least when I've seen over 20 years of working with CompTIA stuff. I've always found the last 3 to 6 months to be a really bad time to take an exam. So I would definitely focus on getting your 601 knocked out before the end of this year. And if you're not going to do that, I would switch over to 701 and prepare that way. How long will the content be for CCRF and CCRP? Yes, Luigi. CCRF, 5 to 10 hours of video. CCRP, 10 to 15 hours of video. Basically, as an in-person course, they're designed to be a 1 day and a 1 to 2 day course and a 2 to 3 day course, depending on how our ATPs like to teach it and what additional content they want to do. If you're teaching just the content, it's fairly quick. The other thing, if you're interested in that, is the textbook for the CCRF and CCRP. It is one textbook for both. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Mastering Cyber Resilience, and it's backwards on the screen because I don't have my mirror on because our streaming software died. But this is the textbook for it. And if you take the course, when Dion Training has it, the textbook will be in there, a digital PDF of it. If you like physical books like I do, it is here and available for you. And it does cover both. The way this exam works, to take the second level, the practitioner, you have to have the first level. And the reason for that is as you go through the book, basically the first 60, 70% is the foundational content that you're going to have on the exam. And the last 4 to 5 chapters is the practitioner. And the practitioner is all scenario driven. Every single question is about a half a page to a page long. You're going to read about a company. It's going to say, Jason's Fruit Company wants to do blank, blank, and blank. And it gives you all the details about it. And then it says, okay, Mr. Cybersecurity professional consultant, what do you recommend to the company based on what you know out of this book and the processes? And so the CCRP is considered a, hold on. Sorry. I'm trying to think in my head. I think I'm wrong. So never mind. Yeah, CCRP is a case study based exam, and it's a very in-depth exam. So definitely one that once you pass that, we've developed this to the point that the hiring managers know you're good to go. You know what you're doing, and you can do the role of a cybersecurity consultant. We talked about that one. Link for CCRP F, we talked about that. Send an email to support. Okay, Ekarub, if you are in Udemy, you asked how can you get your Security Plus 601 back? If you're in the video course and you want the 601 video course, go to the top of the pinned chat and there's a link. Click on that. It will enroll you into the 601 parenthesis retired course. And that is the old 601 course with all of your content exactly as it was last week. If you stay in the course you're in now, all the 601 content has been removed and the 701 is there now. What was supposed to happen, and we had a glitch, was 4 weeks ago, the retired course should have been available. And every Monday, we were supposed to be able to allow you to start moving in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, students into that course who wanted to stay in the 601, so that by today, when the 701 content went live, you had a chance, you had 3 or 4 chances to move to the 601. For some reason, the last 2 weeks did not go out like it was supposed to, or week 4 and week 3 didn't go out. Last week did, and today's did. So next week, you'll also get another chance to, you can use that link today from now through Thursday. And then next week on Monday, we'll have another coupon, another opportunity to go back in at 601. Every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, the new code will become available and it'll be valid for 3 days. You can access that in your Udemy course. If you're in the 701 video course, click on the announcements tab and that link with the coupon code will be there and you'll be able to access that every Monday for 3 days at a time until you're enrolled. For the exam course, if you're in the exam course, it should not have been updated to 701. That was a mistake. They're rolling back that change tonight. So by the next 24 hours, so by midnight Eastern time, Tuesday going into Wednesday, you should see your 601 exams are back where they're supposed to be. So we apologize for that. There was some confusion with us and Udemy and some things broke. So that should get fixed for you. And if you don't see that fixed in the next 24 hours, Ikarumbi, I hope I'm saying that right, just email us at support@diontraining.com and my team will make sure you're getting into the right course the way you should be. All right. And let's see. Okay. ISEC Tech asks, what do I think about the practical Security Plus questions provided by CompTIA? I think they're pretty good in general. And I think what you mean by practical, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you mean is the PBQs and simulations, which you get the first 5 to 7 questions on the exam are PBQs and simulations. I personally like them. I think it's a good way to make sure students know what they're doing beyond just memorizing A, B, C, D questions. Because we all know there are dumps out there and people can find questions online. I will warn you, don't use dumps because half the time they're wrong. I see this all the time. I go to sites like Past CompTIA, and I will tell you that I've looked at their questions and probably about somewhere between 30 and 50% of them are just absolutely wrong. They'll say the answer is C and it's B. They'll say the answer is D when it's A, and they don't give you any explanation. That's one of the differences by buying a high quality practice exam, either from somebody's textbook or somebody's course like our practice exams on Udemy. We actually have an explanation. It's about a paragraph for every single question that explains why the right answer was right and why the wrong answers were wrong. And that's how you learn with these practice exams. But that being said, simulations and PBQs, I think they do a really good job. Usually you're going to see things that are easy for them to simulate, like command lines, like a firewall interface, like here is a vulnerability report. Now choose, slide in, if you see XML, how can you solve an XML injection, web application firewall, or how do you prevent SQL injection, input validation, things like that. I think they do a pretty good job with those. Yeah, so Armando was talking about, somebody earlier had mentioned boot camps, and Armando had said he went to the University of Toronto. It was a 6-month program. And I'm willing to bet, Armando, as you went through that 6-month program, you probably did things like A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and CISA Plus if it was a cybersecurity boot camp, and you were doing hands-on labs and getting hands-on experience in addition to passing these certifications. So when you go to apply for a job, you're not just saying, I'm Security Plus certified, but you can speak the language and say, oh yeah, I know how to use Splunk. I used it in my lab environment. Or I know how to use Syslog. I set it up in this environment. And that way you're able to be more hireable. Sif, hopefully I'm saying that right. I apologize. My saying of names is always bad. It was a 1-year cybersecurity Flatiron School Flex certificate with 525 hours. That is awesome. Because as a hiring manager, I can see that you don't just have the certification of Security Plus, but you also have a year of lab and hands-on experience. So if I would put that on your resume, obviously. And as you're going through that, I would also, as you're in the interview process, I would make reference to that when I could in ways that make sense. So for example, if I asked you a question of, explain to me how the little lock shows up in the URL of the browser when you go to diontraining.com. Explain to me that process, right? You say, well, in my bootcamp, we actually set up a PKI server and we did blank, 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 blank. And here's how it works, right? Because now I know you're not just a paper tiger, which some people like to call it, which is guy who has certificates only with no skills. You actually have skills and the certification. And what the bootcamp is providing is that hands-on experience. This is another difference between like when you take the Dion training version of the course versus the Udemy version of the course is in the Dion training version, you get 40 hours of hands-on labs where you're actually configuring a syslog server, where you're going through and doing packet captures using Wireshark and things like that. So if you're in an interview and I say, so how would you conduct a packet capture analysis? You go, oh, well, I've actually done that before. When I went into Wireshark, I loaded up the packet capture. I looked for these things. I did these things. I found the IP address. I then reported it. And you can talk about that. And that tells a hiring manager, you're not just somebody who can answer A, B, C, D questions, but you know how to do these things. Can you do all that with the Udemy course? 100%. But it takes more effort on your part because you have to build your own lab environment. You need to go find places to practice or build it out in AWS and do that kind of stuff. Whereas in the cloud-based course, we have all that stuff already built out for you. So I love those boot camps that are really in depth like that and give you hundreds of hours of experience. And a lot of times they'll also have help with job placement, or they'll have contracts in place with companies that will pick you up because you graduate from their program. For example, I work with a company called Perscolas, which is a nonprofit organization, and they're in about 24 to 26 cities around the United States, including here in Orlando. And I work very closely with the one in Philadelphia and the one in Chicago as well. And they work on helping people in minority communities get into the technology field. And their program, I think, is a 2 or 3 month program. And they go through a lot of hands-on stuff to learn A+ and get jobs as a help desk technician. Well, they already have contracts in place with different companies like Tech Systems that when you graduate, you automatically move into a role with them, basically as a paid internship for 6 or 12 or 18 months. So you can keep moving forward in your career. And again, the biggest, most challenging thing is getting that first job. So those boot camps can be very helpful in that way if they have that direct connect and direct line of movement in there. When I first got started in teaching, I was working with Anne Arundel Community College back in 2013 through 2019. And we had a government grant for people who were unemployed to go through our program for a year, and they would get their A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, and CCNA. And then we had placements in 3 different companies in either Annapolis, Maryland, Washington, D.C., or Arlington, Virginia, based on where the student wanted to go. And they would be able to go right into a SOC analyst role because they went through our program, because those companies helped us build our program. And they said, here's the skills we need. And we built our program around that to get people hired directly. So it's a great way to do it if you find one of those type of programs. Yes. So Ikaru, give it 24 hours and your 601 PBQ will go right back to the 601 that it was. That'll get fixed in the next 24 hours for you. All right. Yes. Little Jimmy Fireball. I love that name. Little Jimmy Fireball. Yes. The CCRP is designed to be very long questions because we want to give you the information you need to make a recommendation and a decision that gets you to the right answer, right? And it's following this NIST cybersecurity framework process and a process called the CR map, which is the Cyber Risk Management Action Plan, which is a proprietary system that we have battle tested for the last 10 years or so out in the real world with a consulting firm. And they've done millions of dollars a year in sales and consulting using this system with lots of huge small, medium, and large size businesses all over the world. And it works really, really well. So that's what we focused with the CCRP on. Let's see. Beto de Cuba says, hey, Jason, got my Network Plus, passed Security Plus in July and got MS 900, which is Azure, MS 101, MS 100, and AZ 900, Azure fundamentals. Didn't land a job yet. Don't have any work experience. Guess that's the problem with any suggestions. Yes. So Beto, couple of things. One is if you haven't listened to our podcast at yourcyberpath.com, I highly recommend it. It's a completely free resource. It's hosted by Kip Boyle and myself. We're the co-hosts of it. Kip comes from 20 years of civilian experience working with banks and insurance companies and sports teams and movie theaters and things like that as a cybersecurity analyst and consultant. And I come from the DoD military background, so I'm very familiar with the government civilian world, the military member world, and the DoD contracting world. And so we bring both those two different perspectives, which covers about 99% of the cybersecurity jobs out there. So I really recommend listening to that. We have a lot of episodes that cover things like how do you get experience when you have no experience, and how do you get hired when nobody will hire you with any experience. And in fact, we just recorded an episode that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks on that topic, and we have some in the back catalog as well. And you can just go to yourstarterpath.com and type in the word experience, and you'll see all the episodes that cover that. And I would listen to some of those. Some real quick suggestions: volunteering, setting up your own home lab, going to conferences, and volunteering at conferences like B-Sides and Secure World. All those things are things that'll put you in the places where hiring managers are and be able to talk about the skills you have now instead of just all these certs, because you have a lot of certs now. You have 4 or 5 different certs now, but you have no experience. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to take a chance on this guy. I don't know, or guy or gal, sorry. I'm not sure if that's a man or woman's name, but either way, I'm not going to take a chance on this person because a bad hire cost me a lot as a cybersecurity hiring manager. So that's the big issue you're having. So I think that's one of the things I would look at. The other thing, I know this is going to sound like I'm trying to sell you something, and I'm not really trying to sell you something. It's the easiest thing I have to give you that would give you a complete solution. Kip and I have created a course that is sold by Dion Training on Udemy. If you go to diontraining.com/Udemy, you'll see it as you scroll down. It's called Irresistible. And the subtitle is How to Make Yourself Irresistible to Cybersecurity Hiring Managers. As we go through that course over the 6 hours, I think it's about 6 hours, we go through how to find jobs, how to figure out what job in cybersecurity you want, because I have a lot of people go, I want to be in cybersecurity. I'm like, great. What job do you want? Like, I want to be in cybersecurity. I'm like, there's like 50 different jobs. You need to know what job you want before you can start getting the jobs and experience you need to get to those jobs. So that is the first part of the course. The second part is how to do your resume so that it actually gains attention and gets through the applicant tracking system. The third thing is all about interviews. I don't know if you've gotten a lot of interviews or bites on your resume. If you haven't, it means your resume is the problem. If you're getting interviews but nobody's hiring you, your interview is the problem. And then the third piece is if you've gotten through the interviews and they make you a job offer and then they pull it back because you asked for too much money or you didn't negotiate right, that's the negotiation part. So in that course, we talk about first, how do you find a job? Second, how do you apply and resume? Third, interviews. Fourth, negotiations. And fifth, how do you be really successful your first 90 days on the job and blow the hiring manager's mind with how awesome you are? And that whole course is 6 hours, which I obviously can't reiterate all right now because it's already almost 10 o'clock at night and we've been going for 2 hours. But that's what I would check out. It's called Irresistible. It's on Udemy. If you're a Udemy business person, you already have access to it as well. So check that out and it'll be free for you that way. Let's see. Christina's pulling me to the side here. How can we get it back if we are on Udemy site through an organization? Yes. So Katie, if you're in an organization, you can't get the 601 course back with your organization account. So what you have to do is create a personal account, which is free to do. And if you go to the pinned chat above, I have the link for the 601 retired course. Just click on that and then log into Udemy using your Gmail account or your personal account. And that will add that course to your account so you can access the old 601 content that you're missing, the old videos. All right. Little Jimmy, yeah, we think the practitioner sounds awesome, and I think you'll really like it. So keep an eye on Accolade. We're doing some great things. The first 2 certifications are all about that NIST cybersecurity framework. The next set of certifications we're doing is all about risk management. That's another huge area of cybersecurity that we're focused on. And then we're also looking with the hiring managers, what is the next thing? One of the things we've done at Accolade is we have an advisory council with about 50 different hiring managers across the US and Canada from big companies as well. For instance, we have one person on there from BlackBerry at a very high level position at BlackBerry. And they tell us, here's the things that we are having trouble with hiring entry-level talent. Help us fill this need. And that's why we're building our certifications specifically based on what the hiring managers need, so that they will put this on their job descriptions and say, recommended have CCRF or CCRP. And they know when they get somebody who has that they're meeting the requirements of what they need. So that's why we built out Accolade the way we did. And that's one of the things that makes us very different from the CompTIAs or the People Certs or other people in the world. Not that those are bad companies. They do great stuff. And obviously, I'm a CompTIA fan. I teach a lot of the CompTIA stuff. But when I have somebody who has a Security Plus, it doesn't tell me they can do the job. It just tells me they have knowledge, right? And that's one of the reasons why hiring managers are looking for cert and experience. And we're trying to overcome that because you can't get experience if nobody will hire you, right? And so that's why we're trying to help you through those things as well. Splunk, yes. So L Style says, could having a Splunk certification be beneficial for an entry-level job? Yes, especially in cybersecurity. Splunk is heavily used in the industry by SOC analysts. And the nice thing about Splunk is they have a free Splunk fundamentals certification you can get on their website. And then they have some higher level ones as well. But even just having that free entry-level one and having that on your resume, The keywords in there are going to help you in the ATS, and it's a pretty easy course to go through. I think it's about a week or two, and it'll give you a really good overview of how to use Splunk, and that's a very valuable skill set. D, you asked, will the SY0 version 3 ever be on sale? Yes, always. So if you don't know about Udemy, Udemy loves to do sales. They're doing less and less sales than they used to, but we're a very big Udemy partner. And one of the things they allow us to do is we're allowed to set our own price for a sale on a 5-day coupon twice a month, and we can do a 30-day coupon once a month. So at any time, you can go to diontraining.com/Udemy, and you'll get our 30-day coupon, which is a lower price than Udemy has on a daily basis, but it's not always going to be the lowest price. For example, Security Plus right now, I think for the 701 or SY0, I think is like $19.99 if you go to diontraining.com/Udemy. Then twice a month, we do our promotions, and those are posted on Facebook as well as on our mailing list. And if you go to diontraining.com on the homepage, you can sign up for our mailing list. And those come out usually about every 2 weeks. And all of our courses go on sale at the lowest price possible. Every course gets a different price depending on how popular and how much it sells on Udemy. But generally, the SY0 version 3 goes anywhere from $10 to $20 on those 5-day sales. And usually it's around $15 to $20 on those 30-day sales. But if you're like, hey, I got to get it right now, the best way to go is always diontraining.com/Udemy. And if you want to wait for the lowest price, you might wait a week or two. But if you're on the mailing list or in our Facebook group, you'll always see those. And it'll be whatever that coupon is. And I'll give you the hint here, the easy way. If you go to Udemy on any of my courses and you put the 3-letter month and is it the 4-digit year or 2-digit year? I always forget. 2-digit year. So for example, right now it's November. So if you put NOV23, you'll get the 30-day coupon price on any of our courses anytime. And once it's December, it'll be DEC23. But if you want the lowest price, you can wait a week and you'll get the discount on the mailing list if you're on our mailing list or our Facebook group. All right, question over here. Do I need to purchase 701 and switch back to 601 using a coupon if you want to buy the materials for 601? No, well, technically you should to pay us, but honestly, if you have the link above, just click on it. It'll give you the free access to 601, at least from now till Friday. And since you all put up with me for 2 hours on this live stream, you can have that for free. Just go up there and click it. So that's for Nanjila. Click that link and you can get yourself into the 601 course if you're planning to take the 601 exam. Let's see. There we go. All right. And do you have any good labs to prepare for Network Plus? So the labs that we have are only included on the Dion training courses right now. We are working on adding a lab only product on Dion training so you can buy just the labs. And what I mean by that is if you've already taken the Network Plus course on Udemy and you've taken the Network Plus practice exams on Udemy, and you're like, I'd really like to have some hands-on labs so I can go into a router and configure it, right? They don't have that on Udemy. But on Dion Training's version, we have the video course and the exam course in one, and we add in 40 hours of hands-on labs. Right now, we don't sell those labs by themselves, but we've had a request for that from a lot of students. So it is something we're working on with a different lab provider. The official CompTIA labs are included in our official course that we sell on Dion Training. We're going to have a second set of labs from another provider that we're bringing in, and we'll be able to start selling those pretty soon. I'm hoping by the end of this month, we'll have those online. The tech team's working on all the integrations in the back end. So it's coming. But if you haven't bought a Network Plus course and you want to get the full course on Dion Training, it does include all the practice labs. And they're the same as the ones you get from CompTIA, the Cert Master Labs. They charge $179 for just the labs. Ours are included inside of our course for Network Plus already, as well as giving you the official textbook, all the videos, the quizzes, our study guide, the practice exams with 800 or 900 practice exam questions, and our pass guarantee on the Dion Training site. So diontraining.com/courses is what that one is. Let's see. Is WGU a good college? Yes. So WGU is a accredited university. They are ABET accredited, which is the standard for technology schools in the United States. So there's nothing wrong with WGU. It is an online school. It is a self-paced school. And I really like WGU for two big reasons, depending on where you are in your career and what you want to do. Most of the folks I know who've gone through WGU really enjoy it. The curriculum is good and the instructors do care. I will say it is an asynchronous method of learning, right? It's not the same as if you go to your local college where you drive in and sit in front of an instructor for 3 hours at a time. Instead, it's going to be video-based lessons. It's going to be things like test out. It's going to be discussion boards and things like that. The thing I like about WGU is that every one of their courses are tied to a certification. So if you go through WGU, you're going to get your A+, your Net+, your Security+, your CISA+, your Pen Test+, all that stuff, right? And so by the time you get out, you have 5, 10, 15 certifications and a bachelor's degree that you're done with. So it's good for that. If you need a lot of hand-holding and you need that instructor who's in your corner, WGU is not always going to be the best for that, because that instructor has maybe 300 or 400 other students they're helping, right? As opposed to when you go to a local community college or a local university, you might have 20 or 30 students that the instructor is supporting. It's very similar to like when you're working with me, right? I have millions of students around the world. I can't answer all of your questions directly, but you can always email my team and we can help you, and we give you a lot of good support. WGU is kind of similar to that, where you're going to post your question in a discussion board or email the instructor and wait for them to get back to you, as opposed to being able to raise your hand in class and ask the question. That being said, college is well respected. If you get a degree from WGU, no one's going to make fun of it. No one's going to say, I'm not hiring them because they have a WGU degree. I know lots of people have gotten hired with WGU degrees with no issues. So it is good from that perspective. And the other thing that I like about WGU is it's self-paced. So you can do it as fast or as slow as you want. And what I mean by that is they have a very unique tuition model. And so I had a friend who went through their program in 9 months and got their bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree in 9 months, because they charge by the semester. And every 3-month semester is like $5,000. And they have essentially like an all-you-can-eat plan. So you could take 1 class or 5 classes or 10 classes, and it's still $5,000 in that 3 months, right? Or whatever the price is. I don't know what the pricing is right now, but that's the big difference with WGU. So if you're one of those people who's like, you know what, I'm going to take off 6 months and I'm just going to do nothing but WGU, you could pretty much do your entire bachelor's degree in a year if you wanted to that way. So that's a good idea. All right. Let's see. HK doing Network Plus. Awesome. Demsif. Yeah, no problem. Oh, you're in Illinois. Okay. Yeah. So if you're close to Chicago and you're in the US, Security Plus is going to be very valuable to you, and you're in a big city, and you just came out of that tech program, right? So you should be able to get help getting a placement from your school because you went through that boot camp. And then I would also, like I said, if you go through that Irresistible course, or go through YCP, I'll tell you everything in the Irresistible course we cover on the Your Cyber Path podcast as well for free. The only difference is it's condensed down and it's a very structured path in the Irresistible course. Whereas YCP, Your Cyber Path, which is our podcast, we have 112 episodes, and each episode is anywhere from 15 to 50 minutes. So you're talking like 100 hours of content, but that course is 6 hours. And that's because we go into a lot of different topics there, in addition to the stuff we cover in that course. But that course is really the short, easy way to go through getting your resume done. And then Blackjack, I'm glad that you love the CYSO-003 course. I worked really hard to make that the best CISA course we have, because our old course I didn't think was in-depth enough or hands-on enough, and I tried to do a lot of demos in there to really help you all with that. Armando, your exam is in 30 days, so if you don't pass, do I recommend switching to the 701? I would take it in the next 30 days, and then if you fail, you'll know what you're missing, and I would just restudy and then take it again. Because if you're ready to take it in the next 30 days, you've probably almost finished the course at this point, so you're fine sticking with 601 because you're so far in. But if you fail it once and you fail it a second time, and you're like not making progress, then you may want to switch to 701. But I really wouldn't want you to have to start all over if you're just about to test anyway, right? So it does get a lot harder. The further to the right you go, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to get because the question bank gets more diminished. And so if you start talking February, March, April, it's going to get much harder. So it really is going to be a judgment call on your part. Based on how you do on the first one, then I would reassess and go from there. Yeah, Ghostbur is taking Security Plus in high school. Yes, it's a great idea. In fact, my son just graduated high school and he did that same thing. His school taught Security Plus, but they didn't have them test. And so he never got his certification, and he's actually going through my 701 course now, and he's taking the exam in about 2 weeks. And he's 17 years old, just graduated high school. So I'm a big fan of that. And the reason he's doing that is because he's trying to get a job in IT. And, a lot of the companies in our area here we live in Orlando. So we have SeaWorld and Disney and Universal, and a lot of their jobs for IT, they're asking for Security Plus. So he's getting it specifically for that reason, because that's where he wants to go work. Worked at Geek Squad for 5 years and other small remote jobs. That is awesome, because you should be able to get a job because you now have the experience. And the biggest thing is if you need help rewriting that resume, you want to take the experience you have and highlight your security roles inside of it. If you go over to yourcyberpath.com, type in the word transferable skills. You'll hear us talk about that in a couple of our episodes. And there's one episode, I think, specifically on transferable skills, and that will talk about and resume writing that will tell you how you should rewrite your resume to highlight your security experience in all those things. But because you have your IDLE 4, you have your Project Plus, you have your A Plus and your Net Plus, once you get your Security Plus, you'll be ready to move into a blue team role. For blue team, they're going to want at least a Security Plus, preferably a CISA Plus. But either of those, with your experience, you should be able to move into an entry-level role. And you did an internship as well, which is awesome because that's going to give you more of that experience. And the more experience you have, the better it is because it de-risks the hiring for the hiring manager because they know you've been in a job before and you know how to do it. Yeah, so if you've prepared, Pramad, you said you prepared for CISA 002, but you've scheduled the 003 exam for December 4th. Between now and then, what I would recommend is if you haven't taken the 003 practice exams, go get those on Udemy and take those. There is differences between version 2 and version 3. If you go to the practice exams, you'll find the holes in your knowledge that weren't covered by version 2 that are now covered in version 3. And by going through those questions, you'll be able to fill those gaps in your knowledge, especially if you're using my course for that, because my course has explanations for each one. So if you're like, why did I get that wrong? It'll tell you why, and you can learn from your mistakes. And we have 6 full-length practice exams in that course. If you do all 6 of those, you should be ready for the exam on December 4th with no problems. Oof says he wants to keep the 701 course and the practice exams. So the 701 course, you don't have to do anything. For the 701 practice exams, when those come out later this week, you'll have to buy those. The practice exam course doesn't get the free upgrade. There was a mistake on Udemy, and they did the free upgrade by accident. But actually, those questions weren't ready for prime time. They weren't quality checked. So we're fixing that over the next 24 hours. So your video course will be 701, but your practice exams, if you bought the 601, will stay 601. And so if you want the 701, you can get those by going to diontrain.com/Udemy. When those come out, which will be later this week. And I think Monday, if they're out by Monday, there will be a promo next Monday or Tuesday for those practice exams. So you'll be able to get them for the lowest price, and it should be like $9.99. So it should be very, very inexpensive. And Variable X is exactly right. With any self-paced school like WGU, University of Maryland Global Campus, or University of Phoenix, any of those online schools, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Can you get through the program with very minimal effort? Yes, but you'll also get very minimal out of it in terms of learning anything. So the more you put into it, the better you're going to be. And when you get into an interview, you'll be able to speak to the things you learned if you actually studied it. Yeah, so Flatiron School Cybersecurity Bootcamp, New York certificate is a good school. And that's where Dan Smith went through. It was 500 and something hours. So it's a very long program, but it's going to give you a lot of experience as well. Luigi said he paid $39.92 for his first term at WGU for 6 months and completed 19 classes and 3 certifications, right? That's awesome because I will tell you, when I was teaching, even at a community college, it was $300 per class. So if you did 19 classes times 300, that would be about $6,000 at a community college. And you're talking about a bachelor's degree, not an associate's degree that you did. So that's why I like WGU. It's a very affordable way. You can get your entire program done for about $10,000 usually. If you're doing Network Plus now, should I consider doing the newer one for Security Plus? Yes, I would do Network Plus now, finish it, and then go into the 701, Security Plus 701 course and do that one, because by the time you're ready for it in, let's say, 4 weeks, when you finish Network Plus, you're not going to want to start 601. It's just too late in the cycle because it's already on its way to retirement. So I would do 701. It's a better cert. It's a newer cert, and it's going to be in alignment with what you just learnd in the 008 Network Plus course. Improvist. If you pass the Core 1, will it expire if you don't pass Core 2? Yes. So for A+, you are not certified until you pass 2 exams, Core 1 and Core 2. And you have to pass both exams of the same type. Now, what I mean by that is, for example, every 3 years they update the exam. Right now we're in the 1101 and 1102. The next one is coming out in 2025. It'll be 1201 and 1202. You can't get an 1101 and a 1202 and make an A+. It's got to be 1101 with 1102 or 1201 and 1202. So right now it's 1101 and 1102. It's the only one you can take. You take both of those. One is hardware, one is software. You put those together. That's when you become A+ certified. And then it's good for 3 years. And then if you take Network Plus between now and 3 years from now, it'll renew that A+ for you as well. All right. Thank you all for sticking with us. Thank you, Dion Training, for helping out with that. So if you scheduled your 601 for November 30th of this year, should you study the 701? I wouldn't. I would stick with 601 because we're talking 3 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now. I would stick with your 601. Continue to take 601 practice exams until you take your exam. Go pass that exam and be certified. And then you can move into CISA version 3, which is the next thing up the ladder. And there's no reason for you to take 701. Now, you will, if you have the Udemy course, you have access to the 701 course. If you want to go through it, it's great material. And you can fill in gaps from 6 to 7 that you may be missing. But I would stick with your 601 because you're already so far down that path. I wouldn't want to change last minute. And then Ronaldo says, complete the test on 601 course. Want to go back and review it, but the course changes. Can this be restored? So to get access to that exam, you need to use the pinned link above, which will take you back to the 601 course. It will not have your progress, unfortunately. So you could take the exam again and you'll get the same questions and the same answers, but you'll see A, if you learned anything, and B, anything you missed, you can then review those at that point. Or if you just want to review the answers, you can literally go into the practice exam, start the exam, hit the stop, and then hit review, and you'll see everything is wrong, but it'll tell you what the right answers are as well. So it's another way to do it if you want. So hopefully that helps you, Ronaldo. Let's see, Dioxine, what are your thoughts on the Google cybersecurity and Microsoft cybersecurity programs? Also studying in Network Plus, should I put that aside and focus on Security Plus? No, finish Network Plus first, then go to Security Plus. If you try Security Plus without a networking background, you're going to struggle. So I always recommend finish your Network Plus and then do Security Plus. Now, as far as the Google cybersecurity and Microsoft cybersecurity programs, I think they're good programs. They're not as well recognized yet as Security Plus. So you won't see people saying on the job description, required Google cybersecurity certificate. It's a good certificate, but it's not the same as a Security Plus. And so I would still go for your Security Plus because it is industry standard and really well known. The Google and the Microsoft programs, I look at those as supplemental, but really it's Security Plus that employers are still asking for at this point. Last two questions. I'm taking, let's see, Will Axelato, I think it says, Axelati. I'm taking your course on Network Plus because I didn't take the A+, but I'll not take the exam for Net Plus. I just want it for my knowledge, which is fine. But I'm going to take the Security Plus exam. What should I take next? So once you finish your Security Plus, then you have to ask yourself the question of where do I want to go in terms of my cybersecurity career? Do I want to be on the defensive side or the attack side? Now, most people say they want to be on the attack side because being a hacker sounds cool, and they'll go off to Pen Test Plus. The defense side is where you go to CYSA Plus, also known as CISA. Now, I will recommend to you go CISA and then do Pen Test. Now, the reason I recommend that is in the job market, there are 4 jobs for defense for every 1 attack position out there. So if I'm trying to get a job in cybersecurity, where are more jobs going to be? Defense. So I'm going to do CISA first. And that's why I recommend CISA, because it's really hard to get a job as a pen tester unless you've already been working as a cybersecurity analyst or a bug bounty hunter, or you are a programmer or something like that. So that's one of the reasons I recommend that. And Lekovic, never feeling ready. That's one of the things a lot of people never feel ready. And the best thing I can tell you there is at some point, you just got to pull the trigger and do it. If you're really worried about failing, if you buy your voucher through Dion Training, you can buy a Take 2 voucher. It's about 25% more than a regular voucher. But if you fail, you get a retake with no extra cost. And so, it's about $450, $500 for that voucher, but it gives you 2 attempts at Security Plus instead of 1. And so it's a safe way to take it. And if you fail, you've got a retake there. As opposed to if you take it and you fail, you got to buy a whole new voucher for another $350. So keep that in mind as well. And then let's see. So yeah, that's what I would say for Lekovic as far as not being ready. And then Damsis says, where can I get the 601 voucher? So if you go over to diontraining.com/vouchers, you can buy your Security Plus voucher from us. It is 10% off of CompTIA's price. So you're in Illinois, so it's $392 in America for your voucher for US and Canadians through CompTIA. If you buy it through us, it is $352.80, $352.80. You get 10% off the $392, which gets us to $352.80. So you'll save 10%. And if you want to get that Take 2 voucher, you do have the option to add that on when you buy it. But that's going to be the cheapest place to get your voucher, so I'd recommend doing that. And that's for the exam. Yep. And then for cloud security, what certs do I recommend besides Security Plus? For cloud security, usually that's going to be done more there's two recommendations I'd have for that. One is the CCSP, which comes from IC², which is the people who do CISP. So isc2.org is where you'll find that. And it's called the Certified Cloud Security Professional. And it's CCSP. I do not have a course for that. I don't teach IC² stuff myself, but you can find courses for that on Udemy and LinkedIn Learning. And that is kind of the industry standard in terms of cloud security right now from a generalist perspective. The other place you would go is if you're working for a specific company that wants you to be cloud security certified, and you know that they're Azure folks, get the Azure security one. If you are doing AWS, you want to get the AWS security cert. If you're doing Google Cloud, you'll do the Google Cloud security cert. But really, at that point, you have to know when your company is using, right? For example, at Dion Training, all of our stuff is built in AWS. So if you had an Azure security cert, it doesn't mean anything to us. We don't care because we don't use Azure, right? But if you had an AWS security cert, that's valuable to us because you know security in the AWS cloud, which is what we operate on. So that's the way I look at those things. CCSP is a good generic. It's kind of like Security Plus is generic. And then there is Security Fundamentals with Microsoft that is specific to their stuff. It's the same kind of thing. CCSP is the generic, and then there is the specific certs for that. All right. That being said, the last question here is Ghost Burr. If we take Security Plus and CCNA in high school, will it be cheaper because you've already got the knowledge, so you don't have to take it at college? Depending on the school you go to. So some colleges will give you credit for your prior certifications. For example, WGU, who we mentioned earlier, Western Governors University, they do that. So if you came to them and you say, hey, here's my CCNA, here's my Security Plus, here's my A+, they're going to give you 4 classes taken care of because one of their classes is CCNA. One of their classes is A+ Hardware, Core 1, and one is A+ Software, Core 2, and one of their classes is Security Plus. And so if you already have those, they will give you credit for that. And that's 3 college credits for each of those classes, which gives you 12 credits out of the 120 you need to graduate. So now instead of 30 classes, you only need 26 classes. And so I know a lot of students who will get their certs and then go to WGU as a way to minimize some of their expense because it's cheaper to get a cert than it is to go through WGU for all their courses. But at the same time, if you're going to WGU, they include the voucher. I believe they include the voucher inside their courses as well. So if you're taking it, you do get your certs through them. And then the other thing, Ghost Burr, I would recommend is ask your school. Some schools will pay for your vouchers, some won't. But even if they won't pay for your vouchers, because you're an academic, if they're partners with CompTIA, they get academic pricing, which is about 50% off the voucher cost. So Security Plus only costs like $200 if you're a high school or college student, if you have a .edu address that you can sign up for in the US or Canada. So ask your school, and your technology teacher can probably help you with that to get that voucher. So even if your parents have to pay for it, they can get it for about half off. And honestly, it's actually cheaper than going through Dion Training if you're a college student or a high school student to be able to get your voucher that way, which my boss at Dion Training is going to yell at me now for saying that, but it is true. If you're a college student and you're eligible, it's only for US and Canadian students. It's called the CompTIA Academic Partner Program. Your college or high school has to be enrolled in it. And if they are, you get a discount of up to 50% off those vouchers. So keep that in mind too. All right. All that said, yeah, like go for it, man. You've got the take 2. If you fail, it's on me. I'm going to pay for your retake. So, if you got the take 2, you're good. But yeah, you're never going to feel ready. Nobody ever does. And so at some point you just got to take it, right? And you'll feel better. And if you fail, you fail. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. If you fail, you take it again, right? The biggest thing is if you fail, you got to buy another voucher. But in your case, you paid for the take 2. So you already have that voucher. So if you fail, we're going to cover it for you. And that's the beauty of the take 2. It should give you that confidence that, oh my God, if I fail, I still got another shot without having to pay another $400. So go for it. And then when you pass, let me know. I want to hear about it, man. So you know how to reach me. Support at Dion Training. Let us know. And we'd love to hear from you. That being said, we've been going for a long time, so I'm going to end this now. I apologize for the stream issues we had earlier, but I'm going to let y'all go because it's 10:20 here at night on the East Coast, and it's getting late. So yeah. And oh, you live in Anne Arundel County, Ghost? That's awesome. Yeah, I taught for Anne Arundel Community College from 2013 through 2019 before I left for Puerto Rico. And Christina is also came from that area as well. She used to be a school teacher in Anne Arundel County at the elementary school level, and I stole her and brought her to Orlando with me. So so enjoy it out there. And oh, the other thing, Ghost, since you're in Anne Arundel County and you're a high school student, I would recommend you check out the NSA. I'm assuming since you said you're in high school, you're either probably junior or senior. If you're a senior, check out the internship program at the National Security Agency. Since you're local, they have a program with high school students, and they have another one for college students. But the high school program is awesome. You work like 20 hours a week, but you get your top secret clearance, and you actually do cybersecurity stuff. They'll put you in the Information Assurance Directorate, and you'll do cybersecurity with the NSA. So I've known a lot of high school students. I've worked with a lot of high school students when I worked at the NSA, and they love that program. It's awesome. And because you're in Anne Arundel County, you're there. You're the people they want. They're always getting Howard County and Anne Arundel County. And everybody else in this live stream is probably like, what the hell is he even talking about? It's a county just south of Baltimore, Maryland. And that's where the National Security Agency is. It's in Anne Arundel County. So they have an internship program for the 3 surrounding counties, which is Howard County, Anne Arundel County, and Prince George County, I think, is the one south of us. And they all bring people in to work at the National Security Agency after school for 3 or 4 hours a day. They get a top secret clearance. They're doing really cool stuff. And it can lead you into a job after with the NSA or Eagle Alliance, which is their tech support and stuff. So definitely check that out since you're in that area. All right. That being said, last thing I got to say, thank you all again for joining us. And I will see you guys next month on the AMA. And hopefully we'll be able to get our live stream software to work better next time. Thanks all. Have a great night.